hitting the music in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so we got a bit to talk about today. Mortal Kombat 11's roster has been leaked. Hatman rewatched Dragon Ball Z Abridged. I'm going to talk about Injustice 2, and a couple more topics as well. Let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? My name is Micah Curtis.
I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as The Hatman.
And welcome to Micah and The Hatman, live. Alright, let's go ahead and get right into it. So, for those of you who are new, which we have had some new subscribers, channel's growing a little bit by bit every week. The way that we usually start these podcasts out is by reviewing something that we were watching over the course of the week. So, Hatman, take it away with Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Dragon Ball Z
Abridged, specifically the third season, which was the adaptation of the Cell Saga. You're up to date with Dragon Ball Z Abridged, aren't you?
I actually have not finished the Cell Saga myself.
Really?
I know, right?
How far into it are you?
I was up until their last hiatus. Cell had just become perfect and had just shattered Vegeta and then did the whole thing with Trunks.
Wow. So yeah, you are several episodes behind, because the finale of it was, to say the least, fantastic.
That's what I've heard, but my favorite part, like, nothing will ever eclipse him mocking Trunks, like, going, "Look at me! I'm Trunks! Please love me, Dad!" That was so perfect.
I still like the... where he actually broke Vegeta's back, you know. KO! I win!
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Like, that was... Oh, that was great. But, no, I would actually go as far as to say I kind of prefer the last few episodes of the Cell Saga to Dragon Ball Z proper. Like, they are that good.
Really?
Really. Seriously. Like, the humor is obviously there, but they started, like, taking themselves more seriously. Like, they actually went to an abridged version of the series as opposed to just totally making fun of it the entire time. And it's surprisingly heartfelt too. Like, especially once Gohan goes Super Saiyan 2 and he basically, like, lets out all this pent up anger that he's got. And then obviously when Cell decides to blow himself up, he's like, God damn it. I did exactly what my dad and Vegeta do. You know, exactly what I hate them for becoming. You know, what is this shit? Fucking genetic? Like, it shows a side of him that you don't get, like, at all in Dragon Ball Z proper. Like, you don't get this sort of angst at Goku being a bad dad. But you do get that very, very clearly in Dragon Ball Z Abridged. And I appreciate that. I like that it can call out some aspects of the show that got glossed over or just, like, weren't talked about at all, that people just had to figure out for themselves, and then incorporates that into the story and makes it stronger as a result. It's something that you would not expect from an abridged series, because you're just, let's be real, you're just expecting jokes and making fun of the source material.
Yeah.
But this actually, like, takes it in a different direction, like, as part of an actual story, and I really, really like it for that. And I honestly cannot wait to see what they're going to do with the Buu saga. because that is when shit gets real.
Now, have they said that they're actually going to do it?
Yes, they're going to do it.
Okay,
it's going to take a while, like probably over a year, because they're going to start like doing episodes and just like keep a bunch in the pipeline so they can just have regular releases, which I'm all for. Like I do not mind waiting for this kind of quality. Like just the last episode, like episode 60, you know, the finale of the Cell games was split into 3 parts, and we had to wait months for it. It was absolutely worth the wait. Absolutely. It was great. Gojira asks, is Abridged the future of parody comedy? I don't know. It's almost like taking storytelling in a new direction. And I know that sounds weird because of course, you know, it's still a parody. Parody likes to tell its own story, but this is like going back to actually being like an abridged version of what happens, as opposed to having to watch, you know, 50, 60 episodes of a Dragon Ball Z saga. You know, you can watch 10 episodes of abridged and you actually get the story. Like you will be able to go into Dragon Ball Z. Like you could literally go into the start of the Buu saga after watching DBZ abridged, and you will know exactly what's going on. Like you're literally losing nothing at that point. It's different, but I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. And of course the humor is obviously, you know, the highlight of it. It's on point. It is, God. I could just fucking throw out any kind of fucking reference. You know, Kiko, fuck yourself. You know, that sort of thing.
And here comes Chien Shinhan, who turns triangles into fucking squares. I do
even like the Mr. Popo thing, like his relationship with Dende. You know, after Dende becomes like the new Kami, that's hilarious.
So funny story. I met Kaiser and Taka before this exploded, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. Back in the days of the Lord Cat live streams. So this is how far back in internet land we're going here. I was one of Jason's fairly frequent guests in the early days. And so were some of the members of Team 4-Star. And I roasted... It was me, Jason, Skitch, Kaiser, and the dude who runs Gilburu, oddly enough, the porn site. Roasted fucking Laser Mission, the movie. That was hilarious. That was a fun night. And then another night, Jason used to do this thing because I was an all-night person. He would just leave his stream on all night. He would have me on occasion because I was, you know, I never slept, to entertain people overnight for him. And at one point, Taka was with me. Just randomly. He just pulled me in. He's like, hey, this is Taka. He's from Team 4-Star. And it was weird for Taka because I hadn't watched a DBZ abridged at all. So we were just talking about Dragon Ball for hours. So that was that's one of the interesting little tidbits of my history when it comes to Channel Awesome.
Kind of surreal looking back on it, huh?
I know, right? It's really weird because he did the perfect Cell impersonation. He had it. He had it. He had the idea for it back in 2010.
Good God.
Yeah. So
it's great. Like that's another thing I wouldn't mind talking about for a bit. The voice acting, it's really, really good. And it's to the point where, like, when I played Dragon Ball Fighter Z, I'm like, oh my God, is that little Karibo doing the voice of Frieza? It sounds so similar at this point.
Yeah.
You know, it's honestly like they're all doing a great job. The only thing is Goku's voice I'm still kind of meh on. I do prefer Sean Schemmel's voice. Yeah. I do prefer him way above and beyond anyone else, especially his Japanese VA. But yeah, like everyone else, I really like. Especially Cell. Like, good God, Cell. That Cell voice is, dare I say, perfect.
Perfect Cell, yes. But so, needless to say, recommendation.
Absolutely. This gets the Hatman seal of approval, which means, Micah, fucking watch it.
I will at some point. All right, let's go to my pick of the week. Injustice 2. So, for those who don't know, we do a weekly game night stream. I haven't done one yet this week. Don't know if I'm going to do it tonight or tomorrow. Probably tonight. Probably late tonight, like 9 o'clock. Because I'm hungry. But, I played the first Injustice, didn't really get into it. I thought the combat system was a little weird. I didn't really give it the old college try. But I did watch somebody play through the story on it online because I was curious. It's like, you know, it's an Elseworlds story. Basically, the old thing of what happens if Superman go evil. Mm-hmm. And it's probably the most popular what happens if Superman go evil story, I would think. Because there have been previous ones like Ultraman, Earth 2, stuff like that. But the Injustice universe basically had it to where like the mainstream DC heroes go to this other world, kind of like it's the inverse of the Justice Lords storyline from Justice League Unlimited is basically what it is. Though this Superman is considerably more vicious. Voice acting in this game, though, top notch. Kevin Conroy returns as Batman. Tim Daly returns as Superman. You know, they basically recast from a lot of DC animated universe stuff.
Jon Stewart.
Yes, Phil Lamar returns as Jon Stewart. Who else is there that I'm forgetting?
Cyborg.
And Phil Lamar is also Aquaman. That's a switch, because Aquaman had a different voice actor in the DC animated universe. Mark Hamill is not the Joker in this. Mark Hamill is very selective whenever he plays the Joker these days.
Who did Cyborg's voice? Carrie Payton, I think.
Carrie Payton does him again, and who also voiced him in Teen Titans.
Yep.
So there's some of that crossover there. Like, so the voice acting is also very solid. Let's talk the story mode, though. Basically, this story mode takes place completely within the Injustice universe. There is no, mainstream DC characters that come in except for Black Canary. Black Canary comes from a completely different universe to help out Batman. And I think Arrow does too. Green Arrow does too. Yeah, because that universe is Arrow and Canary are dead. But the basic idea is that Superman's in jail. Damian Wayne is in jail because Damian Wayne is trash. And basically, Brainiac comes around looking for the last Kryptonian, which is Superman. And Supergirl has since been found. And she basically acts as the player's introduction to the universe of Injustice. And she's very effective. She is also a very well-written character in this. Whoever it is that's the main writer up a couple hours north of me at NetherRealm, whoever their main writer is, he's very talented. Because then you think about it, Mortal Kombat 9 had a good story. Mortal Kombat 10 had a great story. And I'm told and the first Injustice had a pretty fun one too. So whoever he is, he knows what he's doing. And the how do I put this? The storyline is interesting. It's a little predictable. Because there ain't no way that Brainiac's gonna win. There ain't no way that Superman is gonna be okay and not stop killing people at this point. It's just not gonna happen. So it is what it is. And so it goes among predictable lines. but it's still a fun story to travel through. Brainiac is a pretty good villain, voiced by the same guy who voiced the Question in Justice League Unlimited, which was depressing.
Great.
Because
Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah, Jeffrey Combs is a great voice actor. I like him more as the Question than Brainiac. I kind
of like his Brainiac voice, to be perfectly honest.
Well, here's my problem. I just generally don't like Alien Brainiac. I like Brainiac 2 a lot better. I like Robot Brainiac. Especially the Justice League, the animated version. The cold calculation of destroying that much life, I think, is much more apt as a machine than it is as an alien. So, that's just my opinion, though. People are welcome to disagree. But, gameplay-wise, I finally got kind of the grip of how Injustice works. I'm not good at it, I will freely admit. But one thing I love about this game is, for a fighting game, it has a ridiculous amount of single-player options for you to have fun with. It is basically fighting game Diablo in a lot of senses. My main guy that I play as is the Red Hood, which should surprise fucking no one. I love Jason Todd. And he's awesome. He's a unique... And that's one thing I love about the game, is that the style of gameplay is unique. Now, the weakness of it is a fighting game where you can have Batman beat the shit out of Superman. Beyond that, it is a fighting game where you can have Batman beat the shit out of Black Adam, which he would have no way of really doing, except for the fact that he's Batman. So, because of that, elements of it kind of make no sense, and you kind of have to turn your brain off. But even then, it is hilarious, to say the least. But a lot of fun. Like, my only problem with it is playing online against humans. You're gonna run into a lot of Aquamans. You're gonna run into a lot of fucking Deadshot. Instant projectiles. And that's kind of the weakness of the game. It is over-reliant on zoning. Projectile spamming, basically. And that was always the biggest problem that it had. And that's part of the reason I don't play it online. I played it online for like a few hours, and I hated it. Hated it. I had like one guy who played as Batman and actually fought. Like, didn't just throw projectiles at me constantly. And it was a great match. I lost, but it was fun. I was enjoying myself. So I would definitely recommend it if you're one of those people who likes to play fighting games, enjoys what fighting games have to offer, but wants something that is rich in single player content. So it is a recommendation if for a Steam sale. Buy it on sale, don't buy it full price, but it is a lot of fun. But ultimately the best games that are coming out of that are DC oriented is the Arkham series, hands down. And I'm thinking that if we do game night tonight, we're going to be doing Arkham Asylum. Either that or it'll be Devil May Cry, because next week is Devil May Cry 5.
Oh, Jesus, this early?
Wow. Downside, and this is something Hatman and I have to say, Captain Marvel is next week. Hatman and I will be reviewing it.
We will be.
So what we're going to do, as was promised, I will still review Demolition Man. Hatman will have a pick of the week as well. And then the rest of next week's podcast will be the review of Captain Marvel.
It's going to happen.
So, all right. Let's go ahead and get to our first topic. Mortal Kombat 11. Probably after Resident Evil 2 is the game I'm looking forward to the most this year.
Oh, absolutely.
I fucking love Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah.
It is probably one of the most fun fighting game series you will ever play. 10 was probably my favorite since 2, but before that, 9 was my favorite since 2. After Mortal Kombat versus DC, NetherRealm Studios, I don't know what they did, but They really put their shit together. And what's this about them going SJW?
Oh, because of the Jade thing.
What about her?
Because they wouldn't or all the characters they're starting to cover up the female characters.
Okay, that's not SJW. There's a reason behind the scenes for that, guys. It's because they want their games to be able to be viewed at EVO.
Yeah.
It has, because here's the thing, people are saying the same fucking thing about DOA. DOA has all the classic costumes and a lot of titty bounce.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be able to have these things on EVO because they don't want to have another thing where a player at EVO could not play as our Micah, or had to like switch costumes. Like they had to go through an approvals process for a fucking costume for our Micah for Street Fighter V.
Yeah.
They're trying to avoid that. It's not SJW shit.
Wasn't that why the butt slap also got removed?
Yes, it was basically for esports stuff because they want more broadcasting because more broadcasting means that they're going to make more money.
Esports was a fucking mistake.
Now, I don't mind it. I love EVO. EVO is awesome.
Yeah.
But ESPN is the worst thing to happen to it. So it's not EVO. It's not NetherRealm. It's ESPN, guys.
Esports was a mistake.
No, but ESPN getting involved is the biggest mistake. It should have stayed online. It should have stayed on Twitch and things like that, and being a completely online experience. It didn't need ESPN coverage. It doesn't need it at all. Fuck ESPN. Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
And also shame Hatman for not liking esports. Everyone shame to Hatman!
Shame! 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 Shame!
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
But yeah, one quick thing. ESPN doesn't own EVO, but they have the rights to broadcast it on cable television. And the people at EVO have basically allowed themselves to be subservient to them. And as such, it has affected everyone. It sucks. But at the same time, like, with Jade, her costume, she still looked pretty fucking sexy for a dead woman.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not into necrophilia, but, I'm not into necrophilia.
I'm looking at her costume. I'm looking at it right now. Like, you see her cleavage and quite a bit of skin. It's just all the skin's dead. Like, yeah, it's like the only thing you, like, yeah, I'm confused. It's a good look. And I'm of the opinion you don't have to show a ton of skin to be sexy either. Mm-hmm. So, and if anything, because I'm going to be honest, though. It's like, my biggest issue, like, with the designs was actually an MK9. Like, I thought they were actually kind of try hard, especially Scarlet, where she might as well have just been fighting in two pasties and a thong. So,
what was that fucking that alt for Melina where it was just like the wrappings on
it? Was tape.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, stop. But anyway, I like the designs of the current characters. I really like Cabal's redesign, the way that they redid the mask.
Oh yeah.
So
anyway,
Sub-Zero looks great too. But anyway,
before we devolve, let's get back.
Let's talk about the roster leak. So somebody at NetherRealm Studios leaked the entire roster onto the internet. At least all. I don't think it's all of them because they didn't all fit the character outline because it seemed really small for an MK roster.
Mm-hmm.
But they leaked a good chunk of the roster, and we're not going to name which characters. And I would advise Brainbox, keep an eye, make sure people don't do it in the chat.
Yeah.
If you want to go spoil themselves, do it somewhere else because I am very opposed to this happening.
Even then, just something, and I'll try to say this without spoiling it. There were like placeholders, like just without pictures, and at least one of them, like you couldn't tell if it was one character or another character. Mm-hmm. So that one is still at least up in the air, but everyone else is pretty much, yeah, like everyone at least who has a picture to choose from, you can be damn sure that they're going to be in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the question is, do we like the roster so far?
No, I don't want to. Well, so far before the leaks, I'm happy to speculate that. I don't want to talk about the leaks at all. I don't want to give that guy attention.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Chaos Sonic donated $5. See what Chaos Sonic says here. He say, I forgot to specify, but I prefer for risking Rising of the Shield here. You reviewed the sub version because Funimation is dubbing it. Fuck Funimation.
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Fuck 'em.
But anyway, the roster up to this point though I like. I put the Johnny Cage image there for a reason.
Oh yeah,
that trailer was glorious.
Oh, thank God! I'm glad Johnny Cage is in it.
Oh yeah, he's so great. I love Johnny Cage, especially like since he is now kind of the poster boy of Mortal Kombat, outside of Scorpion and Sub-Zero. He's the hero of the story, and I love
the
that.
The irony that it's Johnny Cage instead of
because he was the joke character.
Liu Kang. Yeah,
for the longest time, and now Liu Kang is one of the villains. I love it. I love the way that they have changed. They have turned things around because they have it's kind of fan servicey in the sense that it gives the fans exactly what they want. Fans always like Johnny Cage more than Liu Kang. Fans always love Sub-Zero and Scorpion. The most interesting parts of the story in 10 were Scorpion and Sub-Zero and their involvement. Like that was the coolest parts. I mean, Sub-Zero teaching children while beating their asses. Fuck yeah. And the Scorpion fight with Quan Chi was very emotional.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, like
fuck Quan Chi.
Yeah, I don't have to say fuck him. He got it.
Yeah, he got it. Thank God.
But I'm interested in this game, and I'm kind of upset by this because here's our problem with leaks, and I didn't like it when Kotaku leaked shit about Fallout 4. I don't like that in general, is because you got to keep in mind, guys, trailers exist to sell games, and when you know exactly who's going to come out, you really kill hype. And I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think it is. Like, yeah, you know, the whole, I get that there's some people out there like, oh, fuck producers, but NetherRealm Studios has generally been good to people, I think. PC version of Mortal Kombat 10 wasn't that great, but still, I think that they've generally been really good towards fans. I think WB Games has generally been better. They've had their missteps. Like, they're not perfect. I'm not saying that. But generally speaking, put out good games consistently that people like. Needless to say, it is a... Sorry, I just saw somebody put misinformation in the chat. Raiden is not black. He's still Asian. He's a Japanese god. Stop it. But the
Raiden got me too'd, so he's not in the game anymore.
Oh God. But I'm enjoying, you know, the way that this is going, and for them to just for somebody to just ruin it out of spite for his own company. Not only do I hope that guy gets fired, I hope he gets fired with a foot permanently stuck in his ass.
Yeah. Because
it really does hurt the ability for people to or can possibly hurt your future revenue. And, you know, game journalists love it because they're corrupt as fuck, and they love them some clicks. Like Jim Acosta loves him some Jim Acosta.
Leaks go for.
Yeah, leaks tend... It just really... It hurts the business. It really does. You know, you want to build anticipation. You want to build that as time goes on, or else whenever the final product is delivered, you know, people aren't going to be interested in playing it. And... Or you're gonna just kind of deflate the things. You don't want to do that.
Well,
so
there's also a sort of reverse effect for it too. Like, depending on what gets leaked, it can also drum up hype for a game.
That is true. And in this particular,
thing, though, it's a balancing act. Like, if individual trailers of character reveals are going to drum up hype too, like a leak of the full roster, you know, after that, you are limited on how much hype you can create.
Yeah.
Because those trailers have basically just become, okay, well, you're not going to get people talking about it week to week, you know, with every new character that gets revealed up to launch. At that point, it's like, okay, well, cat's out of the bag. Now what do we do?
The cat's out of the bag, Mr. Turner!
But yeah, so thoughts on NetherRealm performing a legality on the leaker?
Oh, yes. They should add that to the game. Legality. I personally... Okay, so real quick, just a couple things. So, the leaks probably were not all the characters. Now, the good thing is that a lot of I did look at what the leak list was. Most of them, except for I think one or two, had been spoiled by the achievements list.
Yes.
We already knew that Aaron Black was going to be one of them. Who yeah. I'm interested to see how they do him.
And Cassie Cage.
Yes, we knew about Cassie, and then after it had been somebody had done a video about the possibility of Kano, they revealed that Kano was in the game. So, I am still hoping though that they bring Smoke back.
I do too.
So, because he's awesome.
Well, of course they're going to have DLC. So.
Yeah, they will probably have a season. I'm also really looking forward to the return of Shao Kahn, because Shao Kahn is the best Mortal Kombat boss ever. And I'm hoping he's voiced by the same guy who voiced him in 9, because that guy was awesome.
Oh yeah. So, question.
Answer.
How would you feel about an Everyone Is Here Mortal Kombat game?
Like Armageddon?
Almost. But I'm talking like even the joke characters and shit, like Meat and Mocap.
Like Armageddon?
Yeah, but
not shit. I would be okay with a Mortal Kombat game with a huge roster and the gameplay did not play like shit. But the problem is that sometimes when Mortal Kombat games rosters get too big, they ultimately aren't that great, or they're buggy as fuck, like Mortal Kombat Trilogy was. So I actually kind of prefer, like, my favorite Mortal Kombat games are the ones that have smaller rosters and they're more self-contained. Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 9, well, 9 had a pretty big roster, but it was all the characters from the first 3 games and Quan Chi, you know. But and they took a lot of time working on that game. With this, I'm actually perfectly fine with the roster being smaller as long as the gameplay's there.
Yeah.
My favorite character is Scorpion anyway.
Yeah.
So
I'm okay with that too, because I really liked MK9's roster. I thought that was pretty much spot on. Like, if you're going for an essential Mortal Kombat roster, I think 9 had just about the perfect one.
Yeah. Now, before we move on, favorite fatality and why of all time?
Haven't we answered this question before?
I don't remember.
Fairly certain that this was an overflow question at some point, but mine will always be Sub-Zero's ESRB maker.
I think mine will probably always be, oddly enough, one of the ones from the very first game, the Toasty. It's a classic.
It is. Yep. I mean, that's why they brought those 2 fatalities back for MK9
and 10.
Ones. Yeah, that's right. That was in 10
and in 10, oddly enough, they even reintroduced the MK1 camera angle, which makes them even better. All right, let's move on. Rotten Tomatoes have been pegged.
Rotten.
They have been pegged by Brie Larson. I did an article on Bleeding Fool, which apparently now is the Breitbart of comics, which I am proud to be part of the Breitbart of comics. But I did an article for Bleeding Fool talking about my theory behind what happened here. I think, and I did a video on this, I think, about like 6 months ago, I think that Brie Larson is afraid of criticism.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that there is a movement among feminists in Hollywood to try to discredit critics and their existence.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened with Rotten Tomatoes is that you in the audience, yes, you, especially you, stop looking at that Dragon Maid shit, you fucking perv. But yes, you too. You cannot express whether or not you are interested in a movie on Rotten Tomatoes anymore.
No.
At all.
You have to wait till after release.
And even then, they're going to take that away too.
Yep. But now it's literally just thumbs up this movie.
Yeah.
Literally it. That's all. It's And that's the thing. Like I think it's just a result of pushing an agenda in Hollywood for more female-led movies. Like, okay, we get it. You want a female-led movie. That's fine. The problem is when you start pushing it like there is a morality behind whether or not you like it or even want to see it. Like Ghostbusters, for example. It basically became a political act to go and watch the movie. It became a political act to give it a good review. I mean, with Captain Marvel, like how many fucking things have we talked about in regards to them basically sabotaging their own marketing for the movie? I mean, people were looking forward to it, albeit, kind of hesitant because of how the trailers were cut. But this wasn't too dissimilar from Wonder Woman pre-release hype. Oh god, it's the DCEU, knowing their reputation, they could easily fuck this up. Yeah. It was hype, but it was still cautious.
Yeah, exactly. And we talked about that already on the Overflow.
Yeah. But with this, what the fuck now? Like they keep shooting themselves in the foot, or at least what's left of their foot. And I don't know how much further they can sink. I really don't. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes removing just dislikes, the ability to dislike or show that you are not enthusiastic about a movie because of this. What did it get? Like 21%?
Yeah, a lot. And oddly enough, it happened and I was talking about with my friend this morning about it, is that it was happening because Brie Larson is such a fucking egotist. Mm-hmm. And people don't like her because she's a mean bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Her statements are what's causing this to happen. And Marvel, by extension, would have to effectively sign off on it.
Yeah.
They're trying to reel her in a little bit.
But not enough. And they're kind of afraid to, because they're worried about how the press is going to treat it. But here's the thing. And there's a rumor going around, I don't know if there's any truth to it, where there are two endings to Endgame. One of them if Captain Marvel does well, one if it does not. I don't think that's true, just because of how Endgame is like, what, a month and a half, 2 months after Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
That they're not going to recut it now. They are past the point of no return for it. I will tell you this. I have a feeling that this is the experiment movie because, like Hatman and I said on the Overflow, they've got Endgame immediately following. They're already almost. There's a reason that they put out the trailer for Far From Home, guys. It's people to know the MCU is not just going to be Captain Marvel in the future. Mm-hmm. They want to communicate that for those who are worried. Mm-hmm. That's a calculated decision, and you also have to keep in mind. They're going to be doing another Doctor Strange movie, which will probably be a hit, given how good the first one was.
Black Panther movie.
There will be another Black Panther movie. There's going to be a third Guardians of the Galaxy. They've already said that. They have movies in the works for a while.
Yeah.
So, and there's going to be more, and they've even teased like a Black Widow movie and a War Machine movie, and I am all over that last one. I'm all over both of them, really. Because I think that Scarlett Johansson is a good Natasha Romanoff.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, needless to say, like it's really one of those things that this whole thing is disconcerting that a website would just cuck like this to Disney, to Brie Larson, and all this other stuff. You cannot protect people from criticism. It's stupid.
No, and
we got to wrap it up real quick because we've got to get to our final topic.
People need to realize, like, criticism does not equal bigotry. Like, you can dislike something and not be bigoted. I don't even understand why I have to be explaining this, but
we shouldn't have to explain it to adults.
No, we really shouldn't have to. But the term, as I've heard it now, is ghost blustering. When you equate all criticism with sexism or any other form of bigotry.
Yes.
And it's bullshit, and it needs to stop already.
Yes.
It needed to stop 3 years ago.
Yeah. Didn't work with Ghostbusters. It's not going to work now.
No.
All right. Final topic. Good news, everyone.
Good news, everyone.
So some comic book films won some Oscars.
Now, good Oscars? Were they the good Oscars?
They were the only Oscars. Oh, you mean were they like? Well, one of them was a big accomplishment. Into
Best
the
animated feature.
Yes, Into the Spider-Verse, which I cannot see. I'm not allowed. The won Best Animated Feature, and Black Panther won Best Costume Design.
Side note, can we talk about how bullshit it was that Infinity War did not win Best Visual Effects?
It is incredibly bullshit.
That is total fucking bullshit.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah. Fuck The Last Man.
Yeah, agreed.
Or First Man. Fuck. Why The Last Man is the good one. First Man. Fuck him.
Fuck him.
Fuck 'em.
But needless to say, though, and I know I say that a lot, is that even my gripes with the director of Into the Spider-Verse aside, it is cool to see more comic book movies being acknowledged for being as good as they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Black Panther was a very well-designed movie visually. Whether you liked it or not, there's a lot of effort that went into making Wakanda look good. The only things about the visual design that I thought were a problem were the final fight scene. The CG was kind of rough. You could kind of tell that they were stretching the budget at that point. They should have done that, I think, with stuntmen instead. I think it would have been a lot better. And I have a feeling that Ryan Coogler, being as good of a director as he is, will probably learn from that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, it was a it's still landmark in a sense that these are starting to be acknowledged as being as good as they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and Hatman and I have been saying this since we first started this podcast, the best movies that you can watch these days oftentimes are comic book oriented.
Mm-hmm.
But because they're comic book oriented, people haven't been taking them seriously.
No,
Heath Ledger had to fucking die to take it seriously.
Yeah, seriously. If you actually want to argue that that award was entirely based on merit, you're fucking wrong. Had Heath Ledger not died,
they would have ignored the man. Well, here's the thing: they would have ignored how good he was.
Absolutely, yeah. Dark Knight would not have done as well as it did financially had Heath Ledger not died, and he certainly would not have gotten the best supporting actor.
I don't
Oscar.
know about that first part. I don't think that its opening weekend would have been as big.
I
think it would have eventually made as much money by word of mouth because of how good his performance was.
I don't think it would have come close to $1 billion, especially considering the gross for Batman Begins.
Well, I don't know. It's ultimately hypotheticals. The reason that I think that it would have is just simply because over time is simply just because of how good it was. That was a movie that shocked everyone, and that was a good. Good summer for comic book movies and superhero stuff in general.
Well,
you had that was the birth of the MCU. You had Iron Man, you had the Incredible Hulk, you had The Dark Knight, and you had Hancock. All were fun movies.
Oh yeah. How many weekends did it spend at #1 too? By the way?
Several. It was a huge film.
Yeah, because I remember like opening weekend sold out.
But part of the reason that it had such a long presence was because of how good the performances were. Because people were in shock of how good it was.
That's where the word of mouth really started to spread.
Yeah. So.
But anyway, no, with these, and someone did ask in the chat, I don't remember who it was, if these were politically motivated awards.
It's the Oscars. Maybe, they're always politically motivated.
Yeah, I'm tempted to say that Into the Spider-Verse was, and as I said in my Oscar prediction segment a while back, the whole Oscars so black thing, it didn't trend, but CNN did write an article on it, so I'm still calling that one.
And not to mention, these are also two superhero movies that had black leads.
Yes. Very, very yes.
Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying that these movies did not deserve any accolades. I don't know about how good Into the Spider-Verse is. Hatman tells me it's great.
It's very good. I enjoyed it.
I like Black Panther quite a bit. I love Chadwick Boseman as the character. But Civil War was better. So was Winter Soldier. Those films should have been acknowledged a long time ago.
Absolutely. I mean, even Infinity War couldn't muster up best visual effects, despite Thanos.
Yes.
Everything that went into Thanos.
It's the first Marvel film that really made the cosmic scene not just fun, but compelling as well.
Yeah. Then again, best visual effects, I still say is bullshit, because District 9 deserved a goddamn award for it.
Oh, fuck yeah, it did. That movie's great.
I swear to God, That is some of the best CG I've ever seen in a fucking movie, and for it not to get recognized for the one fucking award it did deserve is bullshit.
Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and move into the Q&A.
Let's roll with it.
So, Talon Silverbane asks, for the Entertainment Podcast, what would our fatalities be if we were MK characters? So, my first one would be called Headbanger, where I would bite someone's throat out with my teeth, obviously. It's not like I can bite it with anything else. And then I would, as they grab their throat to try to stop the bleeding like this, I would put my hands over theirs and start choking them to death and then I would headbutt them until their head explodes. So I would take what Rick Grimes did to that one molester and go like a step further. And then my second one would be a tribute to one of my favorite villains of all time in film, Bill the Butcher. Is I would pull a knife out of my back pocket and I would say, I'm going to teach you to speak English with this fucking knife! I would gut them and then choke them unconscious with their own innards and then cut their head off. Hatman, what about you?
I have no earthly idea, but it would probably involve explosives. The fucking button might just be one of my fatalities.
I've got it now. Hatman shoots a guy in the face from range with an M16 with a grenade launcher under slung, and then he just kind of looks to the left, looks to the right, loads the grenade in, goes, fuck him.
I like it. I like it.
And what do we forgot the Twitter, because I didn't think there was any from the email. Was there?
There's one from the email.
Okay, and then Twitter next.
Yes. Also, the from the questionably weeb friend Chris.
Questionably weeb.
Thanks to you, Micah, I've been playing For Honor daily, and so far I've been having fun. But then I noticed something new came to the game: a penguin walk emote. Why?
It's hilarious.
Penguin walk.
I get a kick out of it. I get a kick out of the fact that For Honor does not take itself that seriously.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, what do we got from the Twitter, Hatman?
From the Twitter, let me see which ones are not politics. Duke of Tumwater asks, what is our opinion of Hellboy?
Which one? The movies, the comic,
I guess just Hellboy in general.
Well, I enjoyed the movies. The comic book's okay. I never really got that into it. And the new movie looks like shit.
I have not seen any of the trailers for the new one, so I can't say. Basically, I'm going fully dark on that because I hate that they're not doing Hellboy 3. Because literally everybody wanted Hellboy 3. Everybody wanted to do Hellboy 3.
Yep.
So that's bullshit. Comics, all right. Yep. Obviously, the two movies were great, and Hellboy in Injustice 2 is also hilarious.
Samurai Bear donated $2.
Here we go.
And we have stuff in the disc. Oh, Holy Ninja Toe had one too. How do you work the creation of original characters? Personalities, goals, flaws, etc. Well, you create them from the ground up. And you just basically say, what would I want this person to believe? Like, put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah. Sometimes they can be based on real people, you know. That actually is fairly common in fiction. But for the most part, it's just you have to think of it like a chess game. You create the board first. You're setting the plot, what's going to happen, and then you add your pieces to it. You know, your major players, your minor players, and then you figure out where they'll sit on the board, what their role is going to be.
Yeah.
You know, who's going to be the protagonist, who's going to be the antagonist,
and why.
Yeah, exactly. What makes them deserve that position? You know,
Indeed.
why would they be a protagonist as opposed to like a secondary character or tertiary character even?
Yes, exactly. All right, let's get to the Samurai Bear question. He says here, Justice League are in charge of the government. What branch do they work on, and do you think that Blade should have another movie or TV show? For Blade, I certainly would not mind seeing Wesley Snipes reprising the character.
Absolutely.
As for in charge of the government, that's a scary thought, and the Justice Lords kind of go over that idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like the idea of superheroes being in charge of the government. That's also one thing I would actually say is if you're interested in that sort of a thought experiment, The Authority and Stormwatch are really good comics to read by Warren Ellis. They're two of the big inspirations for Project Lazarus, which is also going to go over that sort of thought experiment. It's a little, long story short, it's a scary thought.
Mm.
So, was there anything else? I think that was it.
I think that's it too.
And we got the ones from the Twitter.
Yes.
So there was one in here that I want to start. How can Micah survive in a harem anime? Okay. So let's just say this. You're going to put me in a situation where I am surrounded by women who want to fuck me. Let's say that there was 7 women. Let's say there was 7 women. Because the reason that Hatman is laughing so much is because he knows exactly how fucking ridiculous that question is. Because they'd all be pregnant in 9 months.
I'm more imagining you in a harem anime, like you going into a harem anime thinking, oh god, this is going to be the greatest thing ever, and then it's like fucking monster girls or dragon maids or some shit.
Oh, well, no. If it's like supernatural shit, I'm grabbing the fucking dragon slayer and I'm killing stuff. I will put my Bluetooth headphones in here. I will put these in, and I will put on Beast in Black's first album. And I will have some fun killing all of them.
There'd be a single fucking goblin girl, and you just invoke the goblin slayer. Oh my god! Wow.
But no,
Jesus.
seriously, like if you surround me with women who think I am attractive, yeah, like it's a recipe for pregnancy. Like seriously,
it's how to destroy
people have
monogamy.
no idea how much of a whore I am.
How to destroy monogamy 101.
Yeah, like it's like putting a kid in a candy store. Like seriously, you have no idea how much I like women.
Okay? Have you played Scott Pilgrim the game?
No.
Damn. Okay, so there's an ending of the game where if you play as Scott, the end is literally all of the female characters like become part of his harem. And it's like him sitting on a throne like Conquer style, and like all the fucking girls are grabbing at him and shit.
Yeah, I would that would pretty much be me. Yeah.
Oh,
I'd even dress like Shao Kahn.
What if it's a reverse harem? Oh, Jesus Christ, no. Let's not go there.
What with like it's a bunch of like dudes and one chick? They'd all be dead. And I'd be sitting on a throne like Shao Kahn with one woman around me.
How is this a survival question? Oh god. How would I survive in a harem anime? I don't know.
Hatman survive like in a harem anime would be more interesting than me. With me it'd be porn.
I would die of blood loss because of all the fucking nosebleeds I would be having.
So,
thing is, I have really bad nosebleeds in like real life too. Like not even fucking joking. They're awful.
Yeah, like Hardboiled Entertainment says, like if you want a more graphic decision, like watch Why the Last Man, our review of book 1. I go into detail about how absolutely fucking insane that question is.
Yep. Oh my god.
Alright. Matchstick wants to know, what if we had Johnny Cage and Wonder Man team up in a movie where they had to fight against SJW Hollywood executives? Be interesting. Can't say much more than that. Never really thought Wonder Man was that great of a character, personally. He's a staple Avenger, but really hard to do well.
Nosebleeds are fake. No, seriously, like I would die of blood loss. I would die of blood loss.
Okay.
King K Rex asks, why do people care so much about the Oscars when all they are is a Hollywood circle jerk?
Well, they were always considered to be a celebration of the best of the best.
Yeah. And then people sort of realized, like, wait a minute, studios can buy this shit. And then the Academy is also up their own ass with, you know, what is and is not considered high art. Like, like you've got Steven Spielberg now that's basically saying, the Oscars shouldn't even consider a movie that has not been theatrically screened. Like, okay, really, we're going to be that elitist now? Like, Jesus Christ! I mean, what's going to happen when we go full digital distribution? Art house cinema is literally going to be the only thing eligible for an Oscar.
Pretty much. Melee Brawler asks, 2 of my friends are addicted to weeboo hack and slash game that plays like the modern Ninja Gaiden games. Anything I could do to help them? Well, if they are the original modern Ninja Gaiden games, then they actually have pretty good taste, because I fucking love those games. Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 are fucking awesome.
What are the games? I'm curious as to what the games are.
Yeah.
Like even if they are like weeb shit, you know, what are the games?
While he answers that, though, for us, favorite character and favorite season from Red vs. Blue. Favorite character is Church. Should be rather obvious why.
Caboose, because I used to quote Caboose like all the fucking time. Favorite season, I think it was 4 when they had the alien.
Yes. Blarg!
That I think Blarg means me or apples. Yeah, that was my favorite one. I actually had the DVD of that for a long time. I don't know what the fuck happened to it.
I'm personally just a big fan of the original season. When it was just a pure comedy.
Hey, why are we here? Oh, man.
Thoughts on Planetary by Warren Ellis?
I haven't read it.
Planetary is a pretty good series. Not as good as The Authority, in my opinion. But, like, the whole I am the fourth man part of it, I thought was one of the biggest letdowns in comics. But Warren Ellis can be up his own ass. But people who really like Planetary love fucking Planetary. It just was not my jam. I couldn't really get into it. But I'm weird. Like, I like his, I like Warren Ellis's, like, lesser-known books a lot. I like Black Gas. I like, No Hero is a really good one. What's the other one? Was it Black Sunday? No, that's not it. Because there was one comic that Warren Ellis wrote that really was kind of the catalyst that made me decide I want to write. I want to do Project Lazarus. What was it called? It's not Super God, though Super God's really good too. Because he's done so much. The story is basically kind of a concept of what would happen if Superman went evil, but kind of differently. Like, and he killed the president. What was the name of it? Let me look at my Comixology list, because I've got it on there. I want to say it was like Black Sunday or something like that. It's a really good book. There's a DC Events sale going on right now. It's interesting.
Black Summer?
Black Summer, that's it. Yes, Black Summer. All right. Pick one more question before we go, Hatman.
Okay. Let's see. What do we got here?
And folks, while Hatman's picking, go ahead and start putting your questions into the chat for the overflow, unless you're the one that's picked.
I like this one. Diego Camacho. Do we think the hype for event comics is dying? For example, I'm willing to bet money you didn't even know Infinity Wars was a thing. Pay up. I did know Infinity Wars was a thing.
Yeah, but I was doing Comics Crusade at the time, so that doesn't count.
Oh, damn it. Anyway, no, I think absolutely the hype is dying, especially after the shit show that was shit shows really that were Civil War II and Secret Empire.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit. And then not to mention the current state of the comics industry.
Oh yeah.
Like, hype is at an all-time fucking low, just period.
Yeah, exactly. Like Joe Quesada's model for the business has broken it. And I knew it would eventually. It just took 10 years to do. Because now they're doing a Thor event called War of the Realms. Nobody cares.
No. Then again, like, has anyone really given that much of a fuck about Thor since Jane Foster took over?
Well, that's the thing. When Thor became Thor again, people were just tired. They were exhausted. Yeah. And I can't really blame them.
No, not really. Yeah, so no, I think event comics are dying. Like what, and those are like the big pushes too. But there's really not a lot you can do if people already don't want to buy your shit. Like no event is going to make people turn around and like break their boycotts of your comics because you've already fucked up. I mean, people will, check the synopsis on Wikipedia or whatever news article comes out. That's about it. They're not going to give a fuck beyond that. I certainly don't.
Exactly. All right, folks. We have come to the end of the podcast for this week. I will probably do game night here in the next couple of hours. I'm going to see what I want to do for food first. But don't forget, if you haven't already, please submit your questions for the overflow. And I have no final words. Hatman, what about you? Aside from leakers or shitheads.
I'll say this as a prelude for Captain Marvel. I want it to be good. I'm going into this wanting it to be good and hoping that all the bullshit that we've heard about it is not as bad as people say it is. So just take that in mind.
I think we're both that way in a sense. Yeah. Because nobody really wants a film to fail, or no. I don't want anything to fail. Well, I would like for people to be successful, but as of right now, they are certainly not following the book to success. That is for sure.
That is true. But needless to say, if it deserves to be ripped apart, you can be damn well sure we will rip it apart.
Oh yes, we will rip and tear until it is done. But until that point, my name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as The Hatman.
We'll see you guys next week. Deus Vult.
Deus Vult.